What's the wildest thing that you saw at Freaknik?
A lot of sex.
A lot of sex.
A lot of sex. A lot
Just
of
out in the open?
No, not in the open, but a lot of people. I'll never forget this. I saw a chick who I thought I had a crush on with two guys.
Did that crush just evaporate right then and there?
Wow. And this is true story. And she looked, hey. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. It was called Freaknik.
Right.
And it was so bad, Atlanta said you can't come in no more with that bullshit.
It's too much.
You know how freaky shit got to be for Atlanta to go, that's enough. In the 90s? Come on, man.
Oh, yeah. No, listen, I remember I interviewed Brother Marquise from the Two Live crew. And they were sort of affiliated with that whole thing in their own way. And, we were talking about sort of the wildest shit that was happening back then. And he said on camera that during that time, he remembers a guy saying that he had a rape license.
I remember people.
Men really felt that way. Like they felt that they could have sex with whoever they want, and that's that.
I remember people saying, if you come over here, you're going to get fucked. I remember people saying that. And I can say this, that in general, my stance, my idea of what I believe is cool or not cool may have been stretched, but it always had a core. And I think some of the things I saw weren't cool to me. I'm like, and even back then, and there was no, I didn't even worry about it. I mean, sure, you did some shit, you got high, you fucked around and did whatever. But I thought it started to be so, it got a little, to me, dangerous.
In what way?
I thought it was dangerous for women.
Yeah. Because it wasn't a controlled environment.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And it was so, to me, I thought I wouldn't want let me tell you, I wouldn't want my mother, my sister, my girl, my daughters. I wouldn't want any of them to have been around any of that stuff. But it happened. But I think trying to pretend like it didn't happen and sue to make sure it happened.
Well, you'll have a hard time suing because a lot of the stuff was outside and so forth, and you don't need release forms or anything of that sort. I mean, it's
just very sad. I don't know how you got, and I don't know, maybe they, have a different estimation of it, but I think 20 years ago you was buck wild and now you're sitting in a place of prominence. Maybe you should have left. Because I bet you a lot of people did wild shit and went back to Charlotte. I mean, they did wild shit and then they went back to Cleveland. So you know what I mean? But you did wild shit at the place it was. You returned to the scene of the crime.
Atlanta, I've never been there. How is it?
Right.
I heard it was nice.
Right. It's just rough particularly if you're at the level of prominence where you're making a lot of money for a corporation who has, I'm sure they have some level of morality clause. Or if you're a judge and you've been pretty vocal about what your stances are on a lot of things, that could be a lot.
Well, look, people evolve, people change.
Sure.
Listen, I used to take Brazil trips back in the day, and I had videos of that have surfaced in various ways. It just is what it is.
But if you become somebody who is intolerant now, chances are that people are going. And we live, like I said this earlier, we live in a space and time where you're indicted for your past.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that people don't just say they were kids. People indict you for your past.
Well, yeah. And I mean, if you think about the current generation, all of their stuff is being, saved permanently. Right. Whereas their parents and grandparents' stuff has not been. So suddenly it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Right. I get to see.
Yeah, this was Instagram back in the 90s here. Okay, here we go.
And when we didn't have any concept of what the stakes of that would be. Mm-hmm. I remember as a young girl, she got Teen Vogue, right? She the first black woman to get Teen Vogue. And then they pulled up tweets from when she was in high school. Mm-hmm. And she lost that gig.
Really?
So she's 28. They went back, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And she lost the gig.
Crazy.
If you look at what happened to any number of people, Harvey Weinstein is in trouble for what he did now. He's in trouble for what he did 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So now we live in a society that a lot of people have championed. A lot of people have thought that, the people need to be accountable. And now we will see if the shit you talk about stands up to history.